How we doing today, guys? Sam and Alex back with you with this week's fishing report. Been a while since we've been together, but we are here today. So it's a great time of the year. We're starting to get some cooler weather moving in, and that really heats up the shallow water bite, especially in our rivers and stuff up here, but really all up and down the entire bay side, really. So I think what I've been doing mostly is just shallow water rock fishing up here in the Magthy, the Severn, Whitehall. It's all kind of the same deal. We're starting to see a little bit bigger fish push in. We have a lot of the peanut bunkers starting to get a little bit bigger in the rivers and stuff. So that's when I start to move up to a little bit bigger baits like this, looking for a bigger bite. This is a 5-inch diesel minnow. Really hard to beat. Pairing that on like a 1/4 ounce or 3/8 ounce jig head, cast in the shallows, riprap, all sorts of stuff like that. It's been really good. Really good fishing in all these rivers around here.
Yep, a couple other areas, so just touching into that is Patapsco, all around the structure, around the Inner Harbor, Eastern Bay, all around the flats over there. And like you mentioned, one of my go-tos is this little twitch bait. Just mimics a peanut bunker perfectly, especially fishing right on top of the structure. Doesn't sink that fast.
Right.
Keeps it a little bit above that. And one of the kind of newer things we've seen a couple for the past few years, popping cork. Really great lure to get their attention and get some of those fish going. Besides that, we're starting to see a lot more breaking fish also in some of these channel edges here in a lot of these places. Eastern Bay, the Chop Tank, main stem of the bay, you're going to start seeing it a little more with a lot of decent size, rockfish hopefully underneath them. But most of the bait's going to be fairly, I guess, 5 to 6 inches, maybe a little less than that. And there's still perch around, right? Yeah,
tons of perch still in your rivers, guys. It's going to last basically till we start to get the first freeze. But tons of good fish in there, whether you want to cast small spinners and small plastics in the shallows, or you want to go out and bottom fish in 10, 20, 15 feet of water and look for some of those fish with a jig or a sabiki rig, you can certainly do that as well. So like you said about the breaking fish, it's really fun to catch them on topwater. I have this little Yozuri pencil popper here. These are some of our favorite topwaters. You can cast them a mile. It's great because, a popper is typically worked when it's a little bit rougher, and then a spook is usually worked when it's a little bit calmer. Well, this is kind of the combination of both of those. So I can spit water with it. I'm also still getting that walk the dog action. It's just a super versatile topwater. You can really fish in any weather condition.
This is one of my new lures that I like to use, especially give this lure to someone else that's on the boat when we're jigging and they don't really know what to do when they're jigging. This is one of the Vertex from Nomad. They actually give you all the action when they swim down, or they actually, some of them act like a rattle trap. So it's simple, just tell the guys, throw it out there, lift it up, let it drop, lift it up, and they do all the work for you, and they mimic those peanut bunker perfectly. So one great lure to give out to the guys out there that are just getting started, and even not just started, sometimes they mimic that perfect size for the bait fish out there. Puppy drum, that's been the other story I get, for everybody fishing shallow, especially a little bit more south, but you're finding a couple small ones up, even in the Patapsco for what I heard. We've seen a lot of mix of things this summer and into early fall, even some flounder in certain spots. So get out there and try those things out. If you're fishing out here from the shoreline, I will say, we're getting to the time frame when it gets better for y'all, especially fishing from some of these parks like Chesapeake and, Rummacoke, when you have a lot of those fish coming through that area. Peelers are going to be great, but right now this is a time when chunking, some LY and some spiders is going to be the best thing to do.
Yeah, pushing a little bit south down towards maybe the target ship area. There still are some Spanish mackerel around and the bigger bluefish, at least we call big bluefish. They're not giant like you would see up in New Jersey and stuff like that, but for us they're pretty big, reaching 30 inches, which is great. Those are awesome to catch. We use a lot of like topwater sting silver style lures. We just work those on the surface or just under the surface for those. Or of course you control those with inline planters and small size 0, 0, and 0 spoons. Great, effective, and really fun to do this time of the year if you're looking to change the pace up a little bit. Now moving south down towards the bridge tunnel and maybe the Virginia-Maryland line, what's kind of going on further down?
Well, you start to see a lot of these bull reds start to push out. Even cobia, they're starting to school up and moving south. As you move closer to the actual tunnel itself, you start to see a lot of these guys fishing a lot of these schooled up cobia, and probably one of the better time frames to get out there and catch numbers. You might not get the giant fish, but you'll get a lot of cobia anywhere from south of the target ship all the way to into Virginia waters. Same thing with the drum. You're going to start fishing a little more structure and fishing some more jigs and live bait on the bottom there, and you'll catch a decent amount of fish all throughout these reefs in the bay. What about crabbing?
Crabbing is still great. This is the best time of the year to crab. I think we've sold more chicken necks the past 2 weeks than I've ever seen us sell in this store. People are out there and they're in big numbers, but they're catching a lot of crabs, and a lot of big, healthy fall crabs are starting to come in. They're big, full, rusty crabs. I think the only thing we haven't talked about is Surfside. I've started to hear a little bit of the drum down on Chesapeake. What about you? You heard any of that?
Yeah, I mean, this is typically the time when it starts, and like you said, heard a few reports of some guys catching one or two here and there, so it's only going to get better. Let's hope we don't get any big storms that, kind of keep us out of the water for a little bit, but so far it looks clear for the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's great fishing. Most of it's going to be bait fishing there, basically all of it if you want to catch drum. Fishing on the bottom, a spot. Also crabs, if you can get a hold of some hard crabs or peeler crabs, can be a good bait for you too. So I think that just about wraps it up. We thank you guys for stopping by, and good luck out there.